up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be venturing 7 years into the past with an older game. So this game is from 2012. And Julie, tell them the name of the game. We'll do it differently.
It's Elder Sign.
Not that difficult to remember, yes. Elder Sign, part of the Arkham Horror Files from Fantasy Flight Games, designed by Richard Launius and Kevin Wilson. With that being said, Julie's now going to tell you more about the game itself.
It's a cooperative game that plays 1 to 8 players, intended for ages 14 and above. Plays in about 1 to 2 hours.
I think you can definitely play the game actually a lot quicker than 2 hours, as we have seen with our plays of the game.
We've averaged about an hour.
Yeah, about an hour, maybe even a little less. So it skews a lot quicker when you're playing 2 players. And with regards to 14 and above, I think you can play the game with someone as young as 9. It's mainly the imagery that's more on the scary side.
I think it depends on who's playing, but yes, the images are a little bit on the scary side, but it's also, you'd have to help them.
You definitely would have to help them, but you know what? Kids can surprise you. Now, what are you going to be doing in this game? Some of the games like Star Trek 5-Year Mission, Thanos Rising. This is a dice game where you're going to be chucking dice, hopefully getting everything you need all the time, matching those symbols, defeating adventures, gaining loot such as unique items, common items, even journeying to other worlds in order to defeat the Great Old One. That's right, Cthulhu's in this game. However, we have yet to confront him. He's just a little scary. I mean, all those tentacles, no, don't need to face that. So, did I cover everything, Julie? Did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it.
So, what time is it?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our fellow investigator.
And take it to the table.
I'm looking forward to getting this one to the table. Been wanting to play this for a while, ever since I saw that episode of Tabletop. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components for Elder Sign. Now, I do have the rule book, as I was able to fit it on camera. It's a good rule book. Everything is very much straightforward in here. A nice breakdown of all the components and a nice quick reference guide on the back. Now, I do not have all of the components out for Elder Sign. This is very heavy on a lot of small components, but I did take out examples of everything. Now here we've got the clock, which will advance after each player's turn, and every time it strikes midnight, it will trigger a new Mythos phase. Well, we've got the Mythos cards here. As you can see, there will be an effect that occurs the moment that it hits midnight, and then there is potentially an ongoing effect or an effect that will occur next time the clock strikes midnight. Here we have our Ancient One cards, the ones you'll be fighting. We've got all of your favorite Cthulhu villains. I'm trying to pronounce that. Nyarlathotep, Cthulhu himself, Azathoth, Hastur, the King in Yellow, Ithaca, Yig, Shub-Niggurath, I think that's Yog-Sothoth. And there you go. So that's what you get in the base game. I'm going to put it to Cthulhu. It should definitely stay on Cthulhu. We have the Doom tokens that will be going on their track, and the Elder Signs that we are trying to acquire in order to defeat the villains, the Great Old Ones. Now here we've got the entrance to the museum, some instructions as to what we can do when our character chit is on the entrance, and of course, what is a Cthulhu game without monsters? Now, monsters will be placed on location cards when the time is right, and we'll explain that as we go through the how to play. So here we've got the different location cards, and I've just taken out a nice stack of them so you can see all of the different adventures you can go on. Then as well, we have other adventure cards, which are the other world cards, which take you on other worldly adventures that give you greater rewards. So just a quick breakdown on the card, trophies that you get, flavor text, any terror effects, what you need to roll in order to beat the adventure, rewards, and the penalty for failing. Now, you may be wondering what that white outline was. Well, if a monster spawns, that's where you'll place them on the card. There are rules if there are no cards open with a monster spot. We'll talk about that in the how to play. Now here we've got our character chits, so I've just taken out 4 of them. We've got the health and sanity tokens, as you can see in the denominations of 1, 3, and 5. We have, of course, the clue tokens. I love the fact that it's the little gumshoe. And then we have our dice that we're going to be rolling, the 6 standard green die, and then the 2 special die, which have some different symbols such as the wild and the 4 clue result. Other than that, besides the investigation results, sorry, I said 4 clue, I meant 4 investigations, every die is the same with 1 symbol of the other types, such as peril, terror, and knowledge. And if you guys didn't see that very well, I apologize. Just realized my hand was in the way. So we'll do it again. Terror, knowledge, peril, and then everything else is investigation. Well, that just wasted a good 10 seconds. Now let's take a look at, the character cards. So you have a lot of your favorites from the Arkham Horror universe. Gloria Goldberg, Amanda Sharp. You can see the characters' starting sanity, health, special ability, and an explanation of their starting items. So we've got plenty of characters to choose from in Elder Sign. That's one of the things that I do really like about it. And the fact that the game can go up to 8 players. Not so sure how that would work, but it's always nice to have a little bit more complex party game. Next, we have the cards that you can acquire throughout the course of the game. You may even start with some of them. Here we've got the ally deck, and I believe these 2 cards slipped in, so these are spells. In any case, let's look at the ally deck. So we got Tom Mountain Murphy. During your turn, ignore all stamina task requirements. Wow, that's really good. Anna Kozlow. So a bunch of different people that can help us out, make our life easier. Next, we've got the common items, which may protect you from losing sanity, can give you an extra die to roll. Now, whenever you spend these items, they are discarded, unlike in the original Arkham Horror, but you get an idea as to what you can get with common items. We'll jump over here to the unique items next, which are typically a little bit better. So, for example, the Healing Stone, before rolling, discard to fully restore your stamina and sanity. That's way better than anything that you could get with common items. You'll see that most of the time you're able to add a red die, which is just a little better than the yellow die. So great items there. And of course you have spells. Now spells are primarily used to lock die so that they can be used later on, or they have some pretty good effects, like after rolling, discard to defeat a monster. As you can see, we've got some monsters here that have some nasty effects. So pretty good thing to have. And as I was saying, most of these are to lock die, but some still have some cool effects. Now, there you have it. We've taken a look at the components in Elder Sign. So we're going to come back at you and teach you now how to play the game. Now we're going to take a look at how you set up Elder Sign. The game is definitely fairly flexible in the way that you set up the game. So this is not going to look the same way that it is presented in the rule book. And I just want to mention that I'm trying to make sure that everyone gets a good view as to what I'm doing. But we're going to quickly show you the recommended setup from the rule book, as you can see on this page. Now, setting up that way does make the game a little bit of a table hog. So we're doing in this concise manner for the purposes of showcasing and teaching the game. Now, you'll notice that the monsters are nowhere to be seen. You do need to have a bag or a cup, something to keep the monsters in. Ideally, it's opaque. For the purpose of this how to play, I'm just leaving them in their plastic bag off camera, and I can just pull a monster out without looking at it. Will serve the same purpose. Now, what do we need to do first? Well, we need to get our clock set up next to the entrance to the museum. We need to have either selected or dealt randomly our great old one. We're going to want to have Doom tokens near his track. We're also going to want to have the Elder Signs available, ready to purchase. I'm just going to place them right here. I didn't take out too many as we're not doing a full playthrough of the game. And then I'm going to want to have my museum locations and adventures, as well as the otherworld locations. As you saw in the rulebook, it's typically better to do it more on a top-down way, but going across works just the same. So we have our player characters here, Dexter Drake and Jenny Barnes, going to play it as it was a 2-player game. So each of them is going to draw their starting items. So Dexter gets 1 unique item and 2 spells. Next, we've got Jenny Barnes with a common item and a spell. So our characters are now set up. We're going to place them in the museum at the starting location. We then reveal 6 locations. And we've got all the different places that we can go in the game. And we're actually starting out in a fairly adverse situation, as the location came up, which actually locks one of our green die, meaning we are missing a die, and we haven't even started the game. Jeez, Yogg-Sothoth really wants to defeat us. And there you have it. That's really how you set up Elder Sign. Don't forget to have your clue, health, and sanity tokens readily available. And now I'm going to come back at you in just a moment to teach you how to play the game. So we're going to take a look at how you play Elder Sign. Now there are some actions that you can do during your turn if you stay in the museum. I'm not going to cover them right away. I'd like to do an example where something has actually happened to our characters. We're going to go through the game as if we're starting our first turn. Now, the first thing we need to do as we're starting the game is draw a Mythos card. What we have here is we must add 1 Doom token to the Doom track unless at least 1 investigator has a spell. Well, we've got a total of 3 spells out, so we're good there. Now, all adventure cards gain the following terror effect today, replacing any terror effect they normally have. Terror means discard all dice showing terror results. That's really not good. So what that would mean would be on a failed roll, any die that has the terror result must then be discarded. So what are we going to do? Well, we are in a tough spot already because we need to free up a green die. Now, Jenny Barnes has a special ability. At the start of her resolution phase, Jenny may discard 1 common item, clue token, or spell to add the yellow and red die to her die pool. Now, the resolution phase is going to be when you're interacting with the card. I'm not really using the terms for the phases as it's fairly straightforward. You first move, as you can move only once during your turn. You can move to any of the locations in the museum or back to the museum entrance, and also to another world if one of these cards are available. But with her special ability, I can discard the revolver, so we're going to discard it, and I'm going to just make a discard pile off camera above the common item pool. You guys can't really see it, but I know where it is. This lets her add the red and yellow die to her die pool. Now your die pool is normally 6 dice. In this case it's 5 because 1 is locked. So we're going to be going with 7 die, and it's really important as we need to free up this die. Now we're going to move Jenny here, and what we're then going to do is roll the dice. And we then need to do our best to resolve this card. And right off the bat, we have a failed die roll. And we don't have the ability to actually do anything. So complete miss here. What we then need to do is we remove 1 of the die. Luckily, there was no terror effect. And then we're able to try again. It's going to be difficult as the peril symbol only has a 1 in 6 shot of coming up. So this would be our second roll, and we can keep rolling until we've got no die left. Well, lucky for us, we succeeded. We got one peril symbol, so we're now able to place that there. And we don't have to get rid of a die because we succeeded, and we can keep rolling. Now in this case, we did not succeed. We got one of the symbols we need, and we don't have to re-roll it all. We can choose to focus the die. We can only do this once. We place the die on our character. We remove a die from our die pool, and we must keep rolling. That was not good. We did not get what we needed. So once again, we remove a die. And we're now down to our last roll. It was cocked, but it wouldn't do anything. So in this case, we have actually failed this mission, meaning we suffer 1 stamina damage. And that is now the end of Jenny Barnes' turn. We must go to our clock phase where we advance the clock. And it is now the turn of Dexter Drake. Well, we are not in a great position here at all. And there's one thing that we could have done. Instead of focusing the die, we could have actually locked the die up with Wither, meaning that it would be able to be used by any player. So I showed you what would happen if we did the roll and we did not succeed. To keep things moving, what Jenny really should have done would be lock this die so that it could potentially be used by Dexter, because freeing up this die is just far too important. So Dexter is going to move to join Jenny and going to spend the Ruby of Riley to add the extra die, and we're going to try to resolve this. So we're going to make our first roll, and we did get a peril. Now it's on the red die. The only advantage with the red die is that it has the wild, but it gets us off to a good start. So we're going to try to roll again, and oof. So this is when things get messy, because we have the terror effect, meaning right now, both of these die get discarded, leaving us only with 2 die. But luckily, we have the peril, the other peril. So we succeed, we free up the dice. Both characters are returned to the entrance. This card is then taken by Dexter as a trophy, and the amount of trophies is stated here on the card, so this represents 2 trophies. I'm just placing it under his character. And before I forget, we do gain rewards. So we gain a spell, a unique item, but a monster also appears. So I have to reach into the monster bag. At the same time, I'm going to reveal a new card. I'm going to draw a monster. Oof, that is a nasty one. I have drawn the ghost. Now, the ghost requires 4 investigation, 1 sanity, but it also locks up the yellow die. Now, with Dexter's special ability, he gains an extra spell every time he gains a spell. So we gain enchant weapon and heal. So we're going to place both of those here. I'm going to have to stack my spells up just a little bit. And I'm going to use this mainly to get it out of here, so we can discard to draw 1 other world card and place it below the 6 adventure cards. So normally you place it below. For the sake of this, I'm just going to flip it over and place it on top. So we've got the Plateau of Lang, which has now been revealed. I have my 3 spells that are left, and I got to draw a unique item, which is the Book of Dryan, so I am in a good place. We then advance the clock 1 more time, and it is once again Jenny's turn. Well, we need to do some good stuff. We need to get this yellow die back. We don't have a ton of resources, so maybe that's not the best way to go. And we're not always going to be able to get extra die. So right now it's really about getting Jenny some more resources and being just a little bit more successful. So what she's going to do, actually, we need some unique items. We're going to try to get 2 peril. I mean, stats on chance of that is very slow, very slim. And you know what? It's about the same as this, but we get 2 unique items, so we'll try it. We're rolling our 6 die. And, oh, before I forget, I wasn't clear on this. You can only succeed at 1 task at a time. So that's all I've been rolling. But for example, if I rolled 2 peril this turn, or 3, I can't pass both tasks. I can only pass 1. Well, that's when a case like having a spell like Wither would save the day. Now, because I used Wither on the last peril, I just forgot to do it. This is discarded, so Jenny does have 0 zilch, no resources. So we're going to try this and see what we get. Wow, actually, that's a great roll. Despite the terrible results, we do succeed. We do take 1 stamina damage. Hopefully, so we'll add that to our sheet as well. Try again. And what do you know? We succeeded, taking 1 more stamina damage as written on the card. We draw 2 unique items. And then return to the entrance. So this will then be Jenny's 2 trophies, and we will reveal the next adventure card. Ooh, the opportunity for an ally. Well, we're in a little bit better position now. Got to advance the clock. Dexter's turn, so Dexter is actually going to try to get back this yellow die. He's got a bunch of spells. He's going to spend his Book of Dryan to have the red die. And then let's see what we can do. So we make the roll. Whole lot of terror effects. But luckily, we are successful. Now I can spend both of these die to meet this 4 requirement, which isn't that bad. It would take 2 die no matter what. So we've now passed that and succeeded and do not have to discard almost all of our dice. Now what we need is 6 investigation, and we actually have it on these 3 die right here. So with the 6 investigation result, we are successful. Now I'm going to move the die out of here. So Dexter does lose 1 sanity because he fought a ghost. The ghost is worth 1 for the trophy. Dexter's returned. We have succeeded the late night break-in, which is also 1 for a trophy. We draw the next adventure, and midnight has now struck. So we will then discard this Mythos card. We draw the next Mythos card. So either add 1 Doom token to the Doom check, or as a group, investigators must discard 2 unique items. Next time the clock strikes midnight, each investigator must discard 1 ally if able to. Well, that's bad. Here's where we can get an ally, so clearly we're not trying that this day. Well, as that's all of Jenny's resources, she may as well. We're going to just put the Doom on the Doom track. We don't want to weaken her. And that's how you play 1 full day in Elder Sign. As you can see, with more players, the day is going to go faster. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back and go through a couple of other things that you can do in Elder Sign. We'll take a stab at the Plateau of Lang and talk about what your options are when you're at the entrance to the museum. So let's take a look at what else we can do in Elder Sign. It is Jenny Barnes' turn. She's pretty hurt. 1 more damage and she is toast. Now, I know you probably can't read everything because of the glare from the lights, but let's take a look at the different options. So there are 3 things that you can do at the entrance. First is receive first aid. You may choose 1 of the 3 treatments that are below. Heal 1 sanity or 1 stamina for free. Pay 2 trophies to fully regain either stamina or sanity. Pay 4 trophies to fully regain both stamina and sanity. Well, what Jenny would do would be spend this trophy, 2 trophies, and fully heal her stamina, bringing her back into the fight against the Great Old Ones. Now, another option she has, don't forget you can only take 1 action on your turn during your resolution phase. So in this case, she will have resolved heal. But we're going to keep going and just explain the other things that she could do. Now, she could try searching the lost and found. You roll the dice, and depending on the result, you would gain what's there. So if you happen to roll an investigation symbol, you lose either one sanity or stamina. With a knowledge result, you would gain a clue token. It's a common item for the peril symbol. We rolled a terror, which is a good roll. Jenny would actually gain a spell in that case. Now the other options we have is buy a souvenir. At this point we can spend a trophy. So 1 trophy like this one would let you get a clue token. 2 trophies is a common item. 3 trophies, a unique item. 4 trophies, 1 spell. 5 trophies is an ally. And 10 trophies gets you an elder sign and 1 step closer to winning the game. So that's what you can do at the entrance. Now, Jenny actually took her turn. We went through it. We advanced the clock once again. So it's now Dexter's turn. We don't have any extra die, really. We don't want to go get an ally. We could use some more resources. Spells, not as much as potentially clue tokens or extra die. But this one gives us 2 spells on a common item. This one releases a monster. We're going to try our luck with Forgotten Knowledge. We only have our 6 green die, so let's start it and see what we get. Well, nothing too great, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, we'll have to total everything up. But one thing I did not mention the first part of how to play, pay attention to arrow symbols. If I was doing the security office, I would have to go in order. In this case, I do not. I did get the terror symbol. I did get the 3. But yeah, it's not enough. That's what I've got there is, well, I've got literally 8 on this, which is it's not very good. But we're going to take the chance. We have a 1 in 6 chance. Maybe we'll get lucky. And not lucky. Wasn't very good. Nothing went our way. We're going to take a sanity. So we're overall still in pretty good shape. And advance the clock. It is now Jenny's turn. Now if Jenny decided to come here, she could actually ask for my help, and on a failed roll, for example, let's say this was her roll and it wasn't successful, she could actually ask me to focus one of her die. However, if I join in on an ally, help them in this case, I take the damage if they fail as well. So just wanted to point that out there. Now, we're going to go after actually the Plateau of Lung. This is going to be difficult. We're going to discard the alien statue for a red die. We don't have a common item or a clue token, so that's the best thing that we can do. And hopefully, we're going to succeed. Now, this is actually fairly good. We have a wild, we have a peril. So, unfortunately, the only thing we can really do is the terror and this. We don't have any spells, we can't keep anything. Try again. This is when having spells or anything would be, or a clue token comes in super handy. So for example, right now, we're going to pretend that Jenny has a clue token. So if Jenny had a clue token, she could spend her clue token to re-roll as many die as she wanted. So in this case, she would re-roll, get another chance at succeeding. It's a very powerful tool. Fortunately, we're not doing all that well. Both of these have the same chance. We're going to focus that die. We're going to get rid of this die. Try again, and oof, luck went our way. We've succeeded at defeating the Plateau of Lang. We gain 2 clue tokens. 1 Elder Sign. We need a total of 12 to defeat Yogg-Sothoth. But we do place a Doom token on his Doom track. Now, if we place it on a symbol that looks like a monster, we would then have to summon a monster into the game. So Jenny has defeated the Plateau. She gains the trophy. And importantly, just to note, we will not replace the other world location. It will only get replaced if there's a card or as a reward. So we advance the clock one more time. And since we're going through almost a full day here, let's finish this out. Dexter wants to redeem himself. He doesn't have very many great options, though. He would love to have a clue token, so instead of trying for something as difficult, he's going to move to the remains of the High Priest. And let's see what we get. Well, that is a strong start, and we can actually really set ourselves up for success here. This is when spells really come in handy, because we can pass this, and we can lock up the scroll with one of our spells. It'd be fairly difficult for us not to get the investigation results that we want, but you never know. And there we have it. We've got our 2 investigation results. We've succeeded, gaining a clue token, as well as 2 more spells because of his special ability. So you get the Voice of Ra and the Red Sign of Shadamel. So we've got some good stuff going on, lots of spells for Dexter. And we're going to just remove the dice, claim our trophy, reveal the next adventure location. The clock will strike midnight. Fortunately, no one has an ally. Reveal the next Mythos phase. So we add 1 Doom token to the Doom track unless at least 1 investigator has a common item. Unfortunately, we do not. Then the next time the clock strikes midnight, 2 monsters appear. Well, at this point, you add the Doom token. Reach into the monster bag. Not looking. Pull out a monster. Oh, it's a mass monster. These actually are removed from the game unless you are fighting. I think it's a Nyarlathotep. Hard name to say. So we'll reach back in. Pull something else out. So at this point, we've got the ghoul. And then the ghoul can be added to any one of these. Now, sometimes having monsters come out are good because take a look for ancient relics. And now it just got a lot easier. And there you have it. I'm going to keep playing through Elder Sign and until we actually beat Yogg-Sothoth. Now, I actually think I made a mistake with regards to the Plateau of Lang. So let's take a quick look at Yogg-Sothoth here. So when an investigator suffers the penalties on another world card, that card is returned to the box. So I didn't make any mistakes. Thought I might have. I thought it was when something strikes midnight, but luckily Jenny Barnes succeeded and we did not lose the other world card. So there you have it. That is how you play Elder Sign. A nice in-depth look at the game. And Julie and I will be coming back at you with our review of the game. So Elder Sign, what did you think of the game? This is not your first experience with the Arkham Horror universe, but
I played it a long time ago.
Yes, but that was the big, out of control, overly complicated rules, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. You may see it on the channel in the future. Haven't decided yet. Don't know if we'll pick up 3rd because 2nd's got a special place in my heart.
Okay. I mean, I enjoy it. There's a bunch of different characters in this version. I don't know how many. It was hard to pick who my character would be given the amount that there
I think there's between 16 to 24 characters.
So I tried forced myself every playthrough to try a different one. I don't think they're all created equal. There are definitely some that are more powerful than others. I think that first one I had was pretty powerful.
But it also depends on the situation, right? Some characters are going to will be more beneficial depending on the great old one that you're facing. Such as during our last playthrough, I picked the author, when we were fighting Yogg Sothoth, I believe. I can't keep all the names straight. In any case, there were some negative effects if we didn't successfully complete the otherworldly adventures. And the author gets boost to handling those, and they give some really good rewards. So I found her to be perfectly suited for the situation she was in.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there are some things that would help you and other times would not. One of the old ones that we faced, basically every time you used a special item or a spell, you would basically lose a stamina. One of the characters that I played basically had an advantage of every time she basically got to boost her dice by exchanging spells or unique items. So that wouldn't have been as practical. But I can say, we played 5 times, I believe.
5 times.
And we only lost once.
Yes, we did play some of the more easy, great old ones. Also, we had a few times when we were rolling like
Well, the time we lost,
I'd say we lost twice, because the first time we started playing, we had no strategy. We were just kind of all over the place, and we sort of reset the game after playing about 3-4 rounds because we realized just nothing was working.
Yeah, the time we lost, that we actually went through with it. We're trying to play and lost. We were just not rolling very well.
Yeah, it wasn't just the character combinations. The rolls were not coming up. I mean, there's quite a few of them where we'd get like almost everything we need right off the bat, and then it was like 3 in a row. Need one symbol would not come up. It was absolutely brutal. We actually went through the devoured mechanic. I think we both played almost like 2 or 3 investigators each.
No, I never ended up being devoured.
I got devoured twice.
Yeah. So that being said, I enjoyed it. I like the production value of the game. I like the idea behind it and the way it plays and how you have to play together. Sometimes, going back to the fact that we lost the game because we just weren't rolling well, sometimes it's just very frustrating when the rolls just aren't coming your way, where your luck is just not on your side. But that's how it works with dice checking games.
Yes. So what did you think of the art?
Yeah, it's good. It's a little dark, I think, but that's part of the theme, right?
Yeah, it's Lovecraftian horror, so you got to have that dark theme, and I really do like the art. Some of it is recycled from Arkham Horror. I believe that this came out after Arkham Horror 2nd Edition in an attempt to sort of streamline the whole thing. I do like the art on the cards, which I believe was primarily new for the game, not the character cards, but more the ones that were on the adventure cards. And I think that looks, it's very thematic, as you say, and it sucks you into the theme, which can be a little scary for some kids, but in a lot of cases, you could definitely play this with pretty much anyone in the family. I think that's one of the things that stands out to me about the game. I definitely think you'd hit closer to that 2-hour player mark. Well, not player mark, but 2-hour length if you're playing with up to 8 players. But it's really cool how the game can facilitate that many players easily. Now, I can see how it get a little long waiting for 7 other people to take their turn. But, if you're having a family gathering, people are socializing, you don't have to pay attention to too much as people are chucking their dice. So it could definitely fit that role of a large family game.
I can see how quickly the Doom track could move forward, though.
Yes, you could definitely spiral out of control very quickly if people are not paying attention to what they're doing. Like, you don't have to focus on the game, but make sure you're not just, I'm going here, oops, Doom token. Oops, failed Doom token. You get yourself in trouble that way.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way that you. I mean, I felt in one version of the game where basically cards couldn't help you. Well, they could, but we were just not getting them anyways. It felt a little difficult. I enjoy when you can start to loot up, I guess you can say, and have the spells and the items that can help you get those cards that are a little bit more difficult. Because when you don't have them, and it has happened that we've had a bunch of more difficult cards come out all at once. It makes it a little bit difficult to succeed, and you can dig yourself into a pretty big hole. But that's part of the game, right?
Yeah. Randomness is a factor in this game. It's a dice chucking game. There are some mitigating elements, but I would say that the luck mitigating elements are very much on the light side. Typically, I'm someone that doesn't like high randomness in my games. That's more along the lines of cards and scenarios popping up that can just sort of ruin everything. In terms of this, if you're getting a lot of bad rules, it will spiral out of control rather quickly, and you probably won't even hit an hour, actually. I think, we were playing for about half an hour, and about the 20-minute mark, we figured we were going to die, and then like 10 minutes later, we were done.
The time we lost?
Yeah, the time we lost.
Played longer than that. I think you were just having fun and didn't realize how much time had passed.
Yeah, it did not go our way, unfortunately. But other than that, I think all of our other playthroughs we've had, at least from my perspective, we'd had a good time with the game. We enjoy it, despite the high randomness of the game. If you do like Lovecraftian horror and you do like the Arkham Horror series, this is a great addition to your shelf because you can pretty much get it out with anybody. Setup and teardown time are very, very minimal, and that's something that we're starting to look more and more in our games is how accessible is it, and this game definitely falls, I'd say, fairly high on that accessibility rating. Is there anything that you would say that you don't like about this game, Julie? We really sort of just talked about or what we liked, and I don't think we had any too.
There's nothing that
negative.
I really dislike about this game. I mean, I talked about it. There's some randomness and some luck factor in this, but that's the game.
Yeah, it's just primarily the frustration that can come your way if things really go badly. And
like that time, I just couldn't get a roll to save my life compared to all the other times I was, rolling like a beast.
Yes. So that's the one thing I think we both agree on. We mentioned that is randomness, but it's very much frustration. If you do have people that you play with that don't like everything being left up to chance, can get frustrated easily, then this may not be the game that you want to add to your shelf if you play with them all the time, because I get the feeling that they're just not necessarily going to enjoy it. Or when you get that bad playthrough, they're just going to be like, I don't want to see this game for a long time.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like randomness, and I get frustrated when things aren't going my way or when I'm not rolling very well. But this game is still enjoyable. It's not like you get out of the game and then you can't play for a long time. You can die, you can get devoured, and you just pull out another character. So
yes.
It's not the end of the world. It's not like you're out of the game. So.
And that's one of the things I do really like is the devoured mechanic. The fact that you get to come back in, and you could have a character that is sort of, like beat up, just been fighting these monsters and venturing other worlds, starts going a little crazy, going insane. And when they finally go cuckoo, you get to start over. You get like new starting items, and you're rocking and rolling, which can be actually like it's going to cost your team a Doom token, but might be better than having your half-crazed former private detective trying to journey through the other realms.
So on that note, how would you rate this?
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a solid game. It's a great addition to anyone's collection. If you like dice checking games, if you don't like dice games, this is definitely not the game for you. Stay away from it. And if you're an Arkham Horror fan and you do not have Elder Sign in your collection and you aren't happy that you don't get to play Eldritch or Arkham enough, well, Elder Sign is something you should look at picking up. It's not too expensive, and it can definitely slot right into that spot and give you that flavor, that Lovecraftian horror when you want it.
Well, after that long-winded rating, I'm going to say I agree with Jason with the 7. I think it's a fun game, and it's definitely something that I enjoy having in our collection.
All right. So what can viewers do now, Julie?
They can like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified when we have some new content for you.
And down below in the video description, you can find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can see some pictures of us playing Elder Sign up on those feeds. Not sure exactly when we're releasing this video, so you might have to go back, or there'll definitely be some on release day as well. And what time is it?
Time to grab our drink.
Grab our fellow investigator. Luckily, we're both still sane. We only went insane once.
And we're going to keep playing games.
We're going to keep playing Elder Sign. There's actually a lot of expansions out there for this game. I don't know if the game really needs the expansions, but I do like the fact that they are available for a reasonable price.
Yeah, given the randomness, I think you can get a lot of playthroughs with this without it feeling stale.
Yeah.